Well, I've seen, some Paper Mario opinions from you on Twitter. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Jepson podcast. I'm joined today by my very, very good friend for quite a long time. Mr. Emile Chuggaaconroy is in the building.
My very good friend for a very long time. Hello.
How long have we known each other, Emile? 11 years?
11 years? Yeah, I was going to say 11 years.
Yeah, 11 years. Pretty much 11 years, which is just insane. You invited me out. Like, we met in person at PAX East 2011? PAX East 2011. Jeez. When we recorded the Mario Bros. Wii, I guess? That would have been the first one that I was a part of with you guys?
Yeah.
Man.
And I kissed your cheeks and thought you were cute, and I talked about the train being late all the time.
Oh my god, the train is late. I still say that sometimes.
Why I even said that. I really don't know. It wasn't like a joke or anything clever or anything. It was just you said that you were coming by train, and because I wasn't native to the area, that was the last thing I expected to hear because there's no trains where I live. And when you said you were coming by train, I just go, the train is late, and we just thought it was funny. I don't know why.
It's just satisfying to say out loud, but it gets worse because the train wasn't late at all. That's the thing.
No.
The train wasn't even late.
No, it wasn't. I just thought that because that's what trains do, is be late. I don't know.
That's just par for the course for trains, I guess. So Skyward Sword HD came out this week, and I wanted to do a little podcast talking a little bit about Skyward Sword HD. We talk about Zelda in general in this podcast because you and I are both. I mean, who isn't a fan of Zelda? But Skyward Sword HD is a very divisive one, and it is now a decade old, and it's come a long way. And I know that you said you haven't and probably won't play the HD version, right?
Mm-hmm. I have not played it, no.
So let me just start by saying, first of all, the button controls, great. Just great. Oh. Really, okay. Really great. And I'm actually kind of surprised. It works surprisingly well. I still think that the motion controls are the way to go, though.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that the best improvement easily is having a free camera in this game finally, because it was... I think it's No, Ocarina of Time 3D did not have a free camera, though, but Majora's Mask 3D did.
Yes.
Wind Waker did. Twilight Princess on GameCube and HD had it.
Yes.
This is kind of I'd say the last big one that didn't have it at that point. I mean, Ocarina's big, but you know what I mean.
It's funny you mentioned that, too, because I actually started writing a tweet just before we started recording here that I haven't sent yet. But the thing is, so this is what it says. What is one favorite thing and one not favorite thing about Skyward Sword for you? For me, the ability to rotate the camera around makes enjoying the scenery so much easier. So, yeah, I agree with you.
It's a beautiful game. It's just that you were super limited in how you could move the camera around to really get a good look at it and make some really pretty screenshots and stuff. And so... I do admit that is a really big improvement. I know with the button controls, you have to hold down L and then use the stick to do it because there aren't 3 sticks, and one of the sticks is used for aiming your sword.
Yes, which actually, that's the one downside, I would say, to the button controls. That's the only downside to the button controls, is the fact that you have to hold down an extra button to switch the camera around. Otherwise, the sword works really great. So, but yeah, the camera's incredible, and this game, I always thought this game looked kind of like just one giant painting. Mm-hmm. So now we get just an easier way to enjoy the art that is this video game.
The way that they handle the backgrounds in the game, it looks like Impressionism is what I've always seen it compared to, where you have really like dotted brush strokes kind of for the backgrounds and stuff. It's a really distinct look, and I felt it got around the limited resolution of the Wii to make the game look less inherently blurry as you saw things in the background.
Yeah, exactly. No, They I mean, Nintendo's always been really good about being like super efficient with their consoles and like the games that they put on them. I mean, still to this day, like Mario Galaxy is one of the most gorgeous games of all time, and it was on the Wii, right? Like the fact that Definitely. It got re-released on the Switch too, like, and everything just, oh my God, it's just, man, I feel like Nintendo taking their time with getting into the HD consoles and like HD TVs and stuff taking their time and like separating themselves from Sony and Microsoft for a few years there was really, really, really smart. Like, even if it was unintentional the way they went about it, which maybe it was or maybe it wasn't, but the fact that they took their time and still made high quality, like gorgeous games that hold up 10 years later, that's really impressive.
Some Wii games hold up better than others, but I think that a real testament to how they've always been good at optimizing hardware is the GameCube era, because I think the GameCube era has some of the best looking games of all time, even to this day, where I think Melee visually holds up better than Brawl does in some ways. Mario Sunshine had extremely good water. Wind Waker, of course, looks great today. Gosh, what else?
Yeah, I mean, the GameCube has so many gorgeous games.
I could go on and on about it. But
wasn't the Wii kind of just a glorified GameCube in terms of the hardware?
It had similar hardware architecture. I don't know all the specifics. I just know that they continued on the same architecture, which is one of the reasons why it was able to run GameCube games so well.
Yeah, and they didn't have to emulate that. It was just like it literally had GameCube hardware in there, so they were running physically. They were physically running GameCube games. So,
what's really frustrating about that is that they continued on the same architecture all the way up through the Wii U, which meant that the Wii U was natively able to play GameCube games, but they never enabled it officially.
What? Yeah. That's so lame, though.
Yeah, isn't it? Like, people were able to get it working with no adjustments to the hardware, no emulation, nothing. People were able to just get it running from enabling it and like just enabling it themselves, and it worked fine, but they never enabled it officially.
Oh, that's too bad. That's really too bad. I didn't know about that. That's crazy. Cause imagine that. Cause like then the Wii. I mean, honestly, the Wii U would have been at that point like the ultimate Nintendo. Cause like it would have all the backwards compatibility of all the previous consoles, and then in addition to that, they had all like the best games from the N64 era on the Virtual Console, which we definitely don't have on the Switch.
Not to stray too far, but I hooked up my Wii U again for the first time in a while last year, and I forgot how much I missed things about it. Like where I fully acknowledge that it didn't do well for a reason, and I can see why people wouldn't think that it was worth the price tag.
Yeah.
But there were some really good exclusive games on it, for one. A lot of them have left for the Switch, though, but the library of classic games was superb.
Yeah.
It has a lot of games in there that have never gotten re-releases anywhere else, like Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, for instance.
Right.
Because we were all stuck inside last year, the portability of the Switch kind of meant less, so my Wii U gamepad was just as portable as the Switch was, where I could carry it around my house and play games on it. And having essentially a portable system that could play a lot of classic games, I didn't realize how much I wanted that after being without it for so long. And also the gamepad being able to control the TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot it could do that, actually. It became your TV remote, right? like big buttons and everything.
Good feature. It was nice, just being able to adjust the volume with the plus and minus buttons and all that. It was super convenient, and I kind of missed it, because I played through some classic games on my Wii U gamepad and just carried it around like a portable system with me, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, and like the Wii U also had games like Earthbound and stuff that for some reason are still not appearing on the Switch.
Every single time they announce new NSO titles, Earthbound trends on Twitter for, yay, another month we're not giving you Earthbound.
Okay, so that happens so often that Twitter, because I've never actually played through the entirety of Earthbound before. I'm not a huge Earthbound fan. I mean, I would if I played the game. I probably would be a huge fan. I'm going to. But the fact that Twitter thinks that I'm a huge Earthbound fan, it's always on my like For You like trending page. It's always at the top of that every single time that Nintendo Switch Online announces new games. That's it. And I mean, and then it stays there because I see it all the time. And so no, I know. I mean, if it came to the Switch, it would. I mean, I would probably play it.
Fair enough. I wish it would, because it's gotten a few re-releases. It's pretty fun playing through it on the new 3DS, I guess. That is portable. But a lot of people don't own a Wii U. A lot of people couldn't get their hands on a Super Nintendo Classic, and they don't make them anymore.
Here's the worst part about me not playing Earthbound. I actually do own it. I have it on the 3DS.
You're a lucky one. You really are. And yet,
and yeah, here I am.
For a long time, the game was hundreds of dollars because it never got a re-release for about 20 years.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Man,
it was one of the longest times that an official Nintendo game had gone without a re-release. It's not the longest. There was some arcade game that only got re-released, I think, in the last year, and it was actually lost for a long time.
What does it take for you to buy a re-released game, like an HD port? Like what do you need out of the HD port for you to consider purchasing it?
Not having made a Let's Play of it.
Okay, that's fair.
When I Let's Play games, I so rarely ever play them again because by the end of the Let's Play, I have done everything in the game to death. And I've researched it for weeks or months in a lot of cases. I've researched it for months. I've had to have this game on my mind for the better part of a year. I had to record myself doing all this. I'm my own editor. I've looked at it so much.
Right,
by the time
yeah.
I've Let's Played a game, I'm usually not interested in playing a re-release of it. I didn't play I didn't play through Skyward Sword HD. I didn't play Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition aside from the new content. So usually that's what it takes. But I am a big fan of improvements, of course. Like I prefer that over a straight port. I think the Zelda HD remasters in particular have been great examples of that, where they've had lots of little improvements that taken on their own aren't really much, but the totality of them makes them such a more enjoyable game to play.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess HD is a great example of it, how you have a wolf button, so you don't have to talk to Midna every time. A lot of animations got shortened. A lot of climbing is faster. Gosh, there were so many little things. Wind Waker got a sail that made you sail faster.
Gotta love the fast sail.
A lot of little things got improved. A lot of people look at these HD remasters, they're like, oh, it's just a remaster and they're charging how much for it? And I kind of get it, but when it comes to the Zelda remasters in particular, the totality of all those little changes just makes them so much more enjoyable to play for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that's how I feel about Skyward Sword HD. Like, when I played through the game 10 years ago, I was all about it. I loved it. I 100%ed it the first time I played it. I enjoyed the motion controls. I had the Wii Motion Plus, and I think that's why I enjoyed them, because I know a lot of people that had like the one that plugged into the bottom of the Wii remote, the Wii Motion Plus edition thing. It didn't work as well for Skyward Sword.
I never saw any actual science on that, but when I was Let's Playing it, I was trying to gather data on what people liked the motion controls and what people didn't. And one of the two things that I noticed consistently with people who didn't like it was they had a Wii Motion Plus instead of a Wii Remote Plus. Yeah. I think I ran a poll on this. And the other one was the people that had the infrared sensor on the bottom of the TV, that was possibly affecting things as they were getting comfortable and shifting around as they were sitting.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Because if it gets too much, it gets too much lower. Like especially if you have stuff like speakers and things, and like in front of your TV, and it starts blocking stuff. As you start relaxing and putting your arms down, yeah, that makes sense.
I saw a lot of people who had it below the TV who said that they felt like they had to stand up to play the game, and I never felt that way. When I Let's Played it, I had the controller under my desk.
Well, doesn't most of the aiming, that's all gyro, right?
Yeah. The infrared sensor is only used for recentering your controls, I think.
Oh, that would explain it.
Yeah,
okay.
So you can hit down on the D-pad to recenter at any time. I've heard that in the HD version, you have to recenter more often because there's no infrared sensor to help it figure out where it is, because it uses purely gyro tech.
Yes, you actually do. You have to recenter it quite a lot. And that's kind of annoying, but at the same time, the responsiveness of the motion is so much nicer with the Joy-Cons. So
Pikmin
it
3
kind of
Deluxe
balances
was like
out.
that, where you have to recenter it all the time, and you never had to recenter it on the Wii U.
Yeah. Damn. Well, I think that there's also with the HD version, there's so many other quality of life improvements too, like little things like removing like an annoying barrier in a level. There's like little tiny things like that have improved the experience. Like things. I mean the number one thing is I don't know how you pronounce it, but fee fi fo fum fi. She doesn't talk as much, and
yeah, she shuts up.
She's also like, she's super optional too. So like when there's a point of like some optional dialogue that comes up, she rings once and then she shuts up and never tells you like that she's She's talking again until like the next optional dialogue option. So no matter what, you get to choose.
Before it was like, wait.
Until you push the button. Yeah. Now it's just like ring, and then that's it. And it's very quiet, very subtle. But no. How do you feel about Fi? What did I say? Fi. Jesus. I keep going back and forth, even though my chat on Twitch is like, yeah, it's Fi. I keep calling her Fi for some reason. Anyway,
I like the Fee Fi Fo Fum thing because I think I said that in my Let's Play as well. But, my opinion on her is that I think that she's a good character, but she's a bad tutorial giver, and it's kind of a shame because I think the issue isn't so much that she's bad. The issue is that the game was so tutorial heavy, and she ended up being the one that had to deliver a lot of that information because frequently she was the only character around to do it naturally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that she was a victim of circumstance because there are a lot of things about her that I think are really beautiful. The way that her character develops, the ending of the game is so good with her.
Yes.
I'm trying to be very vague though, but especially the way that ending paid off in another game. I think you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I got like teary-eyed over that, and so did other people I knew who like Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I mean that. Whenever people say like, "Oh, I didn't like it," and then they stop playing, and I'm like, "You gotta though," because like the story is worth it.
Genuinely, this was the reaction of someone else I knew that I got to see play. Play both games. They had the exact same reaction as me, where they were aware of the negative fan reception of Skyward Sword, the reputation that it had online, how it was just like a cool game to like crap all over and everything. And
yeah,
they were certain that as much as we love Skyward Sword, it was never going to come back. That they were just going to kind of let it be. It would maybe get re-releases on some digital service in the future at most, but its plot would never become relevant again. There's no way they would ever bring back Fi because she was so unpopular.
Yeah.
And then when that thing happened in another game,
yeah,
it was just, oh my fuck. It was so good.
Yes. Oh,
it was
man.
such a good moment.
Oh, dude. Man, and yeah, the way that Skyward Sword ties into the other games in the series too is honestly surprisingly good, and that's why I think that Skyward Sword is such an important game in the series. Even if like the pacing is a little weird and the controls are hard to wrap your mind around, like the story and the lore in it is so important to the Zelda world.
They do things like explain where the original Zelda theme came from and stuff, which
right?
that was something I didn't know I wanted an explanation for. And it's not like the game over explains everything. It provides explanations for a good few things as to why the series is the way it is. But it's not too much.
Yeah, it's not too much. And I've got really excited about playing through Skyward Sword HD again. I only just started it like yesterday, and I'm like in the first dungeon right now. But I'm so excited to finish playing it a second time because Breath of the Wild's new trailer, or no, Breath of the Wild sequel's new trailer is very. It's got a lot of Skyward Sword feels, man. It's got a lot of Skyward Sword feels.
It's really funny because I remember when you called me into this, you're just like, yeah, I know that you hate Skyward Sword more than life itself, so I really wanted to have you in there to contrast me. And I'm just like, Josh, I made a very positive Let's Play of it 4 years ago.
I forgot that you Let's Played it. Here's the thing. So where I was coming from with that is I remember years ago, and I don't know why I remember this specifically, but I remember you telling me that you had written a huge, very critical like video idea for Skyward Sword. I think this was before you were doing your Let's Play.
Really?
Yeah, I seem to recall. Maybe I'm forgetting. Probably.
I mean, I did write like a 30-page essay on why I don't like Sticker Star, but I don't know how you could have confused that because not liking Sticker Star is like my thing.
Sticker Star, Skyward Sword, same game.
They
really
both start with an S, and oh god, they both shorten to SS, don't they?
They do. They both shorten to SS. Maybe you were just like, yeah, I wrote this 30-page essay on SS. I'm like, wait, what?
I don't
Skyward
usually
Sword?
abbreviate
Okay.
stuff, but maybe that's where that came from. You thought I was saying Skyward Sword and I was saying Sticker Star.
Maybe. Oh my god, that's ridiculous though, if that's the case. Oh my goodness. All right, here's the real important question though in all of this. Something that I've been thinking about, and I don't know why this has popped in my head today, but where the hell is Tingle? Where is he? He hasn't been around?
In Breath of the Wild, there was Tingle Island, Nukel Island, Ankel Island, and Davdi Island, which was referencing those four.
You could also get Tingle's outfit for Link, which is nice. But the character hasn't been in for
Breath of the Wild.
He does get referenced, but like the character himself hasn't appeared since Wind Waker, right?
Minish Cap.
Oh, Minish Cap. Minish Cap came after Wind Waker, huh?
Yes, Minish Cap is his last appearance, as far as I'm aware, aside from his own games, which didn't release in North America.
Well, hashtag release Tingle from jail. That's probably where he is.
Yeah, so from what I've been able to tell, culturally, Tingle was a super beloved character in Japan, but he was not really beloved elsewhere, where he was a super disliked and unpopular character in North America in particular, and that was part of the reason why they weren't sure if they wanted to release his games over here, and ultimately didn't.
What? I'm sad. I've never played Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, or I think there's a sequel, right? I haven't played either one of those games.
It's made by the same people that made Sticker Star, but I don't know if it's
oh my
good or
god,
bad.
is it really?
Yes.
That's incredible. Oh
yeah,
my god.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Oh my god.
I don't know if it's good or bad. I've genuinely never tried it. I've heard mixed things where some people tell me it's god awful, but other people tell me it's really underrated and they loved it.
I feel like if it was really, really good, like actually really good, that they would release it over here.
I would hope so. That there were DS games on the Wii U Virtual Console, and I've liked, one thing I've liked is that Nintendo's been taking games that never saw a release in a given area, and if it's already in that language, they're usually pretty good about putting it in a digital service, at least until the Switch, you know? But, for instance, Super Mario RPG was never released in Europe or Australia until the Wii. And
really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was Japan and North America only.
Oh, I guess so. That's wild.
Earthbound was Japan and North America only. It never got a European or Australian release. That was another reason why it was so expensive.
Dang. Australia getting the short end of the stick over there. They got
I
spider snakes and
that,
no Earthbound. Or whatever. Not Earthbound.
I used to always say that the natural order of things, this is prior to like 2010 when everything got a worldwide release, but I used to always say that Japan gets something cool, America gets it a few months later, Europe's lucky to get it at all, Australia's lucky if we remember they exist.
Oh, poor Australia.
That's really how it felt with the release dates.
I know.
There were times where games would already be in English and it would release in Australia years later.
Oof. Man,
and I would look at Australia and I would go, aren't you guys still on like PlayStation 1?
They're back in PlayStation 1 still. Oh my god. Well, it can't be as bad as Brazil, which couldn't get like imports of console. The imports of consoles cost them like hundreds of extra dollars to get them. Yes,
I knew a guy in Brazil for a while, and he used to always tell me that import tax was outrageous. If you wanted to get a laptop, you were paying the price of a new car, essentially.
Whoa, damn, dude. I mean, some laptops are more expensive than cars anyway.
Looking at you, Apple.
Yeah, right? Here's my $5,000 laptop. Let's go.
A fun thing to do is go on Apple's website and tick every single possible option on a product and see how high the price gets.
Oh, God, I know.
Their price for larger hard drives is just highway robbery. It's nuts. Like,
yeah.
Usually the base price isn't that bad for what it is. I know a lot of people like to call Apple overpriced, but usually the base model's not that bad. But when you get the largest possible hard drive, the amount of money they're charging you per gigabyte is outrageous.
Oh, yeah, it's awful. And also for like now also they don't let you upgrade the RAM on your own either. In the new iMacs, you can't upgrade the RAM, so you are also paying extra for that now too.
That has ramifications.
Just no. Why did I think inviting you on this podcast is a good idea now? I regret everything from that one pun alone.
You're stuck with me for at least 30 more minutes.
Oh my god, dude. Oh man. You know what? Okay, so you know what Zelda game they should remaster next?
What's that?
Either Minish Cap, which you mentioned earlier, which
Mm-hmm.
really deserves to see the light of day again. That game is amazing.
Good game.
Oracle of Ages and Seasons.
You know, Oracle of Ages and Seasons is one of only three Zeldas, or two of only three Zeldas that I've never played at all.
What?
Yes.
Oh, dude. Though, listen to me when I say that those are like some of my favorite Zelda games ever. Oh my god.
I like Link's Awakening a lot, so I get the feeling I would enjoy it. I'm kind of in that mode where I'm waiting to see if it does get re-released, because back when Ocarina of Time got remade, everybody was going, oh, Majora's Mask 3D happen. And now that Link's Awakening has gotten remade and they have the engine built, everyone's saying, well, Oracle games has to happen.
Yeah, and I think I think just re-releasing them in the same style as Link's Awakening would absolutely work. But also, I think that the style, like the way that they did like the toy, sort of like shiny toy style for Link's Awakening remake, I think that might contrast a little bit with the sort of darker. I know you haven't played it, but they're a little darker than Link's Awakening, and so I think it would contrast a little bit too much with that. So
you think Minish Cap would be a better fit for the style, maybe?
Minish Cap might be a better fit for that style. Yeah, actually.
I like how in Minish Cap how big a lot of things are and how you can see the detail on leaves and dew running off of them and stuff. If you kind of had a plasticky look for that, maybe that could look kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. What Minish Cap did some really cool things with like animation and stuff on the Game Boy Advance. I felt like Minish Cap was one of the better looking Game Boy Advance games.
It was. They did a lot of fancy tricks with sprite rotation and mode 7 and all that. The animation was really good. I think the sprites were expressive for what they were.
Man, dude, that's one thing I miss. I miss sprite work in video games. Like, I know that there's a lot of like indie games and like there's some AAA titles that are pixel art these days, but that era, like that Game Boy Advance era of pixel art, I just miss that look so much, especially for Pokemon.
If you haven't played Earthbound, you definitely haven't played Mother 3. But Mother 3's animation quality and sprite work is one of the things people love the most about it.
Yeah,
There's
I've seen
so many details in that game, and the characters are so well done.
Oh god, are they ever gonna re-release that?
I think that the best chance it would ever have of getting an official localization is if they remake.
Oh yeah, they should just do that. Honestly, they should just. Here's the thing, right? Like, because I don't know, I'm not that deep into the Earthbound Mother community, but has I can't remember the guy's name who made it. I'm sure you know.
Itoi.
Yeah, that guy, Itoi. Has he shown any interest in coming back to doing Mother games again?
Honestly, not really. Mother 3 was stated to be the series finale. So the series ended 15 years ago. And maybe this is just me not understanding Japanese culture and social norms and all that. Maybe this is just because I'm American, and to a lot of the American audience, Earthbound is all he did. When in Japan, he's very well known, and he's done TV shows. He has the biggest brand of popcorn in Japan. He makes jam. He writes books. He's done all sorts of things in Japan. So in Japan, he's done tons of stuff. But to us, Earthbound's really all he ever did. And I don't know. I kind of just look, whenever he talks about Earthbound, his reaction's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's a thing I did. Anyway, pickles are nice.
I mean,
that's what it feels like. He's so dismissive of it and doesn't really seem like he cares that much. But again, it could just be me not being a part of the culture.
Well, think about it like this. If you made something, how long ago did Earthbound, how long ago did Mother 3 come out? When did that release?
2006, so 15 years.
15 years. All right, what did you make 15 years ago?
I was in high school doing badly on essays I didn't want to write.
All right, so would you go back and remake those essays?
Probably not.
That doesn't really correlate very well to my point, but you know what I'm saying.
The comparison's just Japan gets new content from him all the time, but here in America, you're like, bitch, it's been 15 years. Give me another game already.
Yeah, right. Oh man, now I want some popcorn from Japan now.
I've always wanted to try it. I don't know what the details of importing food from Japan is like. I've imported a lot of objects that are not food, but I don't know if there's more complications on that or if it could go stale in the time that it takes to get here, because it usually does take weeks.
Yeah, that's probably part of the problem. Have you ever been to Japan?
No, I really wanted to. I planned to go in 2020, and I had to cancel those plans.
Oh, yeah. Well,
2020. Really quick. 2020 was going to be. I decided all of this in, I think, December of 2019, before there was like even any scare at all. I decided that 2020 was going to be the year that I went to Japan, that I started going to the movies more.
Oh.
That I got over my fear of roller coasters, and that I started going to music concerts in. Those are my 4 objectives for 2020.
I'm gonna guess you didn't hit all your New Year's resolutions there.
I went to the movies once. That was as far as I got to any of those goals, and the only movie I got to see was Rise of Skywalker.
Oh God. Well. Oh man, Rise of Skywalker. Are you a Star Wars aficionado in any way?
I've been a fan of it since I was a kid.
How did you feel about Rise of Skywalker?
So, okay. So I loved The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I liked The Last Jedi. I did not like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's par for the course, I feel. That's pretty accurate.
I don't think The Last Jedi is as bad as everyone says, but Rise of Skywalker, really didn't enjoy it. There's some things about it that I could admire. Like, I feel bad for the editors that had to put together Princess Leia's scenes, because I can tell that was hard.
Right, yeah.
And there were a few wonky things about them where you could tell they weren't recorded at the same time, but they did a really good job with what was given to them. So I could admire things like that about it.
Yeah. Man.
But I was not a big fan of Rise of Skywalker. And that was the only one I got to see in theaters. I had things that kept coming up in the first weeks of the year, and I was like, that's okay, I'll go next week. That's okay, I'll go next week. That's okay, I'll go next week. And then before I knew it, it was March and everything shut down.
Oh, geez. Yeah. March was the last. We had friends come and visit in March, and it was right around like March 2020, and that was the last we hung out with friends. Like, we haven't since then. Still. Like, that was the last time that I saw my friends in person.
I guess you're at least lucky that you did it right before things happened, because I know a lot of people that were really meaning to get together with people, and they just couldn't do it for a couple months, and then everything shut down, so they didn't get to see people for an extra long time.
That's what I was saying, too. Like, I was like, yeah, we got our socializing done. And, like, the thing is before the pandemic, we weren't really all that social to begin with, but we were definitely more social than afterwards. And... You know, that's what I was saying all of 2020. I was like, I'm so glad our friends came to visit in March right before all this went down, so we could see some other souls before it all shut down and the world ended or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad.
I know that you're in the you're in the area. And I'm going.
So sorry, say that again. You cut out a little bit there.
Do you plan on going to PAX?
PAX? Honestly, not this year. Not this year.
I could see it feeling like it's kind of a risky thing to do, and I don't really know anybody that's going.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's going, and also I moved further away from Seattle, so I'm not as close, so it's not as convenient. And yeah, it's just crowded places, man. I don't know. It's gonna be a while before I'm comfortable going to crowded places, and even when I do, I'm gonna wear from now on for the rest of history. I'm gonna wear a mask in a convention hall.
I'm going to wear a mask anytime that I'm sick for the rest of my life.
Yes.
I personally don't find it that bad of an inconvenience. Like, half the time when I have it on, I forget I have it on.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if I can avoid making anybody else sick for the rest of my life, or at least cut it down by a significant amount, I just see no reason why I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I kind of like wearing the mask, honestly. Like, it kind of, especially because
keeps you warm in the winter.
Yeah, it keeps you warm in the winter, and you can get all kinds of fun designs. So you got like some, it's like fashion for your face. It's different. Yeah. I like it.
I have kind of a big nose, so the tip of my nose gets cold really easily in the winter because it's so far out from my face, and the mask stops that from happening, which is nice because I've wanted a way to stop that my whole life, and I don't really wear scarves.
Yeah, I found that throughout 2020, or like the winter of 2020, I was just wearing the mask like in my car alone. I was like, oh yeah, it's time.
I had it on in my car, and I forgot I even had it on. I wasn't even thinking about it. The only thing is, if you wear glasses, I could see it being an inconvenience because fogging. But besides that, as someone who doesn't wear glasses most of the time, it's not any inconvenience to me, and I might as well make people sick less.
Yeah, exactly. I'm and the cultural significance of people wearing masks too, like Asian countries have done this forever for so many years. And
Japan's always been big on cutting down on the spread of disease because they have a super high population density.
Yeah, and as that increases here and people are moving towards cities and stuff, we should we should take care of each other. I don't know why people are so up in arms about it.
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah.
Personally, I don't feel inconvenient, so yeah, I've already decided that anytime that I'm sick for the rest of my life, I would happily do it.
Yeah, same.
So let's see.
Anyway,
asks Rise of Skywalker.
hold on.
Controversies today.
Hold on. Where's my list of things to talk about Zelda? Hold on. Let's get. Where's Skyward Sword? Let's go back to. What's your favorite item in Skyward Sword?
The beetle.
The beetle, dude.
Easily
Okay.
the beetle.
Listen, I've got the game up right now on my screen, and I'm literally aiming the beetle in the sky.
I was gonna say, what's your favorite? The Magma Myths?
No, I like the double claw shot. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah, that was a good. But no,
that was in Twilight Princess too, right? So
it was. That was where it made its debut.
Yeah, but I like the version in Skyward Sword better. I really think that that Breath of the Wild sequel should bring in some use of the hook shot, just because I feel like even if it's a sort of a later game item, I feel like that would increase the speed of getting up cliffs and stuff, They
did show in the trailer that you'd be able to latch onto ceilings above you and then go through the floor. So we kind of have an ability like that.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I guess a lot of Link's other items were replaced by the runes. And so maybe they'll just continue with that concept and introduce other items that we didn't get in the first one. Maybe we'll get a hookshot rune kind of thing. It looks like it comes out of his, if you've seen the trailer, it looks like it comes out of his arm, maybe. So I don't know what's
he has
going
some
on.
kind of infected arm that looks evil that does magic.
He's got a magic infected arm that he needs a doctor. God, it looks so good though. I'm so ready. Oh man,
they've been super vague about what the plot's going to be or any of the details. They've said they said they aren't revealing the title yet because it'll reveal what happens in the game.
Which is that seems what? Just name it something that doesn't reveal. Maybe,
I liked Arlo's fan title for the game where he was guessing it was going to be called Breath of the Void.
Breath of the Void. Ooh.
Back in the reveal trailer where it was all dark and underground and there was this weird swirling energy and everything.
My chat came up with Arm of the Ancients. The Legend of Zelda, Arm of the Ancients.
We see it do a few things in the trailer too. I think there's one part where it shoots fire, so it implies that that'll be the game's magic system. Will just be you having some weird arm.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's nice. So they're probably just replacing the Sheikah slate with that arm, is what it is.
Maybe.
The Sheikah arm.
It'll be interesting to see if the Divine Beast magic is in the game, because those did add a lot to things where they had a lot of utility.
Yeah.
I do like how fundamentally different those four were. They were offense, defense, healing, and mobility.
Yeah. I wonder what they'll have for this one. I wonder if we'll have dungeons that are similar to the Divine Beast dungeons.
People did want more of those. That was the big complaint that I always saw, was that Breath of the Wild only has 6 dungeons relative to how long it is.
Yeah, and I thought those dungeons were pretty short too.
The Divine Beast, yeah. The Master Cycle 0 dungeon, however, I will fight anybody on. That is one of the best dungeons in Zelda history.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's great. It was DLC.
That one's fantastic. It's the right length. The boss fight at the end is great. The puzzles are fantastic. It uses the runes in new and exciting ways even that far in the game. I loved it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they really went all out with that second DLC. The first DLC was really underwhelming, but the second one was fine.
Some interesting things about it, but yeah, I didn't really feel the Trial of the Sword that much.
Honestly, to this day, I still haven't done the Trial of the Sword. I tried it once, and I died, and then I just didn't go back and do it again. So I've never done it.
The experience that I had and the experience that most everyone else I've talked to has is they tried the first trial, and it was really hard. It was really hard. They failed it a bunch of times. They were like, holy cow, this is only the first trial. They finally get through the first trial, and then they do the second and third ones in one try, even though they're supposed to be harder.
Damn.
I'm not sure why, but maybe it's just that you adjust to how you're supposed to play that from doing the first one, and by that point you usually get it. But everyone I knew struggled so hard on the first one and thought it was going to be impossible to do the harder ones, but they did the second and third in one try.
I did make it easier by myself by doing it in master mode, though.
Oh, yeah, that would kind of affect things, wouldn't it?
The first time through going on master mode.
Oh,
that's probably why I was frustrated.
So you didn't play on launch, because master mode was DLC.
Yeah, so I have played through the game twice. So I played through when the game first launched. I played it at launch in normal mode, and then I played it again once all the DLC was out.
Okay, I can see that. And
yeah.
So you didn't play Trial of the Sword and stuff on launch. You waited until all the DLC had dropped, which I think is cool, because there were a lot of new items in the game that really changed how you played it, and you could get a lot of them from the beginning, too.
Yeah, and Master Mode itself was a different enough experience to warrant going through it again, because they add a lot of things, like there's like little floating platforms with extra items and enemies on them throughout the world, and like other little challenges like that. Like I felt, and also like new, like additional Lionels roaming around, and everybody's
the enemies
higher
go
ranked.
up a tier as well, where you have golden enemies above silver ones.
Yep, exactly. So I felt it was a different enough experience to warrant going through it again. And
the only thing I don't like about it is how the enemies slowly recover health.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? So with the DLC, you go and you fight the bosses the second time, right? Mm-hmm. That on Master Mode is like near impossible.
Windblight Ganon on the rematch against Windblight Ganon in the DLC is nuts.
Yeah, I in my adult age, I rarely rage at video games these days. I was raging, man. I was raging.
I believe it. The Windblight Ganon fight, they already give you so few resources, and you can't be slow and careful and methodical because his health is always regenerating.
Yeah, and because they give you like a set amount of like items and resources from that point in the game, there's nothing you can do to enhance yourself during those fights the second time around. So it's just what you get, And if you're doing it on Master Mode, screw you, I guess.
Yeah, Master Mode gimps a lot of ways that you can usually attack enemies, because all the slow and strategic ways are significantly worse because the enemy's probably just going to recover their health back by the time you hit them again.
Yep. I hope Master Mode is there at launch in the next one.
It'd be cool. I hope Hero's Path is there from the beginning, too, because I thought that was kind of a shame that had to be added later, because it was such a helpful tool in seeing where you hadn't been.
Yes. It doesn't the Hero's Path eventually stop, like there's only a certain amount of, or a certain length they get. What am I trying to say here?
A certain time span.
Yeah, like 200 hours worth of walking or something.
I think it is that. It's 200 hours worth of gameplay is what it records, and personally, I ran out of that. By the time they had added it into the game, I'd already played for more than 200 hours, so some of my data had already been lost.
Yeah, which is too bad, because it like, imagine if it just kept going forever and you just filled the whole, like, every inch of it with that little green line.
Mm-hmm.
It'd
be satisfying to just see a solid green map.
Yeah, or better yet, even like meticulously plan out your route and like draw something with that line as you play the game.
You say.
Something, yeah. Well, I don't know what would people draw? I don't know. What do people normally draw, Emile?
I'm too innocent for this conversation.
Oh no, you're not.
I am. I'm innocent. Damn it. Believe me.
The internet already knows how not innocent you are, Emile.
Dude, I went to go. So somebody was asking me about the whole Daisy thing the other day, because they're just a friend of mine and they weren't really in on the meme, and they're like, "Why does everybody always talk about you and Daisy?" And I went, "Oh." So I went and I found the Chugga's Lost Innocent stream, and I saw that it has 500,000 views now.
Oh my god! Well, that would explain it.
And it wasn't even the only video about it that had 500,000. like 2 or 3 others.
Damn, dude. Wow.
His lost innocence. Let me see. Yeah, so the actual live stream's at 514,000. There is a best moments that someone uploaded that has 218,000.
Oh my god.
There is another highlights video that is 432,000.
Oh my god. Yeah, the whole internet knows now.
Yeah,
You'll never escape it.
there's an animation somebody made that has 243,000.
Every time I play Mario Party and Daisy shows up, that is the moment that pops into my head. So
Great.
just know that every time I think about Daisy, I think about you, Emile.
Wonderful. I can't say this now without people having other meanings from it though, but I actually really like Daisy and always have. I was a character, and she was definitely way more expressive than Peach, and I thought just inherently more interesting from that, where she was just kind of crazy and loud and super expressive, and I liked that a lot more than just how boring Peach was and everything that wasn't Paper Mario.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I like Daisy's personality actually.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
She seems like kind of cool, like spunky. She's like ready to go. Peach is like, oh, I'm Peach. Hi, I'm making a cake. Ooh. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Daisy's a little bit more of a tomboy.
Is the best portrayal of Peach easily though, but Daisy is. I wish they would use Daisy in some main games again, because Super Mario Land is still to this day her only main appearance.
I feel like we can't finish this podcast without me asking your Paper Mario opinions, because
Do you want me to? I said I'd cool it down, but if you're asking, it's not my fault.
Well, I've seen, some Paper Mario opinions from you on Twitter, and I just want to, we just want to casually talk about it.
Okay.
How do you feel about So, how do you feel about the new one? How do you feel about the new one? How do you like it?
Oh, about Origami King. So I didn't play Origami King on release. The pre-release material kind of showed me that it wasn't going to fix anything that I disliked about the previous 2 games.
Yep.
So, and they were weird about releasing Origami King. Okay, hear me out here. I know this is gonna sound kind of conspiracy, but hear me out. It felt like Nintendo was ashamed of it before release.
Whoa.
Because they announced it not in a direct or in any kind of big way. They dropped it casually in a tweet 8 weeks before it released. So super close to its release. And just in a tweet. The trailer that revealed it showed basically no gameplay at all, where it was a mystery what the gameplay was even going to be like.
Yeah.
There were a few seconds of a battle, and there were a few seconds of him walking around on fields, but that was about it. It was mostly cutscenes. And then they kept announcing nothing for the longest time. There'd be Japanese print ads that would have one new screenshot in a super low resolution. But that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
It was so vague. And then I remember that they did a Treehouse Live presentation of it a week before release, and that was the first time that we actually got to see any gameplay uncut from it. And then when it released, I chose to replay the original Paper Mario instead. And then when I finished that, I chose to play Bug Fables, and I had a great time. I wasn't interested in it. I found a used copy of Origami King for, I think, $35 in January, and then that was when I started playing it. So, okay. I acknowledge.
You have to brace yourself.
I acknowledge that the series never got as bad as Sticker Star ever again. That game is a distant 6th place.
Yeah.
That Color Splash is not that bad, Origami King is not that bad. However, that does not mean that I think that those games are good.
Yeah. I think that if they stuck with the formula, like you get it. This is what you get with Paper Mario. They keep trying new things, and it's not going in a direction that is good for the franchise. But I mean, I think that Origami King is a step in a different direction, though.
My issue isn't so much that they're trying new things. My issue is that to do the new things that they're doing, you don't have to throw away everything I liked about the original trilogy. Like,
that's true.
If you want to tell funny jokes about Paper, you don't have to have no story. If you want to have a new battle system, you don't have to throw away any experience points or customization.
That's true.
I I sort of feel like the gameplay of Origami King feels like civil disobedience as a response to the criticism they got over the last 2 games. Like, oh, you want incentive for battling? Okay, we'll give you some. How about concept art? Or, okay, you were complaining about there not being partners in the game. Okay, you can have partners, but they have no field skills. You can't control them in battle. They join up for one chapter, and you don't have more than one at a time.
Yeah, partners are kind of lame in this one.
It feels like, okay, we've heard your complaints, but we're not going to fix them in the way that anybody wanted.
I mean, that's Nintendo's kind of mantra at this point, is like, we'll give you what you want, almost. It's like just shy of where it's supposed to be.
To me, Origami King was a frustratingly mediocre experience that I think had potential, and I could see that the talent making it clearly knew what they were doing, but it just simply wasn't allowed to go all the way with a lot of things where, you know, the writing of the paper jokes was kind of funny, though, but the game didn't really take itself all that seriously outside of that, so it was really all that it ever did, and I felt like it got old after a while. I saw a lot of people getting emotional over Bobby, and I really didn't care. I felt like a lot of the emotional that they try to do just felt kind of unearned because I know so little about these characters, and I found them kind of annoying, to be honest.
Yeah, and also I don't feel like the characters were that, like, they weren't really unique. They weren't able to make the characters very unique because they had to sort of stick with the Mario formula, and they weren't really able to give them any kind of real personality in terms of like what they look like. The writing was sort of there with their personality, but like not visually, there was nothing setting the characters apart from any other like Bob-omb or any other Toad, right?
Not really, no. And
there's a few, but like not enough.
It's really weird that like anything that makes an RPG enjoyable, they just simply aren't allowed to do. And it's so bizarre where it's like, no, your character should look visually distinct. Your character should be allowed to have moments. Your character should be allowed to interact with one another. I remember that to kind of show the frustration that I had for it, I'm surprised that people like Olivia, because Olivia would just, I didn't really feel much for her personality, and she would re-explain things mandatory a lot of times. There was one point where she was explaining something for the 3rd time, and I was just like, here we go. So I just checked my phone while I mashed A, and after I was done checking Twitter on my phone, I looked back up and she still wasn't done.
Oh my god, that was the problem that I had with the battle system. I feel like the battle system was overly complicated and also overly simplified at the same time somehow. I don't know how. Here, let me kind of explain myself a little bit. I liked the idea of doing puzzles as like a battle system, but one, it happens way too often and it's way too repetitive, first and foremost. And then when you get to like the bosses, for example, there's just too much stuff going on. It's too meticulous to like go around the board and like change stuff, and it doesn't feel like you're just like fighting an enemy. It feels like you're just doing a puzzle, but you have to do it. I
love you so much because the opinion that I've heard on Origami King's battle system is people tell me that the regular enemy fights are awful and that they acknowledge that, and that yes, it's terrible, but everyone tells me the boss fights are amazing and they're super fun and they're one of the best things in the game. But I felt the opposite. I felt like the regular enemy battles, I wasn't really that bothered by them. I didn't really like the puzzle thing. I was not a fan of sliding puzzles before playing this game. I'll just be straight with that. So I probably wasn't going to like it ever. But I don't know. They're just kind of a thing that happened and then they were over, and I didn't really feel anything about them. They were just kind of there. And if I didn't want to do the puzzle, whatever. The game showers you in 50 trillion coins all the time, and I can pay 500 of them to make the Toads do it for me.
It's true. You get so much money, and you can just pay the Toads to beat people up.
I had found 11,000 coins before I had encountered one thing to spend money on in the game.
Yeah, it's a while before you have to spend any big bucks, and even then, you don't really have to spend a ton.
It's outrageous, and people tell me like, no, you can't skip the battles because you need to be able to buy weapons and stuff, and I'm like, the weapons are like 200 coins. I have thousands of them. So I remember that I got to my first boss fight in the game, It was the Earth Elemental, and pardon my language here, but this is what I said.
Go for it.
I played this fight, and I could not wrap my head around these sliding puzzles and how to line everything up and pick up the items and buffs along the way and get to a point where I'm hurting the boss and stuff. I just could not wrap my head around. I'm not a fan of sliding puzzles. I'm not experienced with them, and this game was not making me a fan of them. So I'm struggling through this boss fight. I'm only able to win it because Olivia's constantly handing you free turns and free heals so that you can learn this new battle system.
Yeah.
I get through it after maybe about 20 minutes of struggling through it, wasting my turns and doing things wrong and running out of time. And when I got to the end of it, my reaction is, thank fuck that's over. That's the worst boss fight in any Nintendo game.
Yes. Oh my god.
And then I get to the colored pencils boss fight at the end of chapter 1, and it's the same thing. And I see that that's just how all the boss fights are in this game. And I actually screamed no at my TV when I saw that it was back, and that's just how all the boss fights are.
I'm so glad you feel the exact same way that I do, because I had kind of the exact same experience, almost. So for me, when I fought the Earth Elemental, at first I was like, ooh, I kind of like this. I get it. It's, you know, because I like the puzzles. I don't mind the sliding puzzles. But then when I realized that every single boss fight was pretty much going to be identical to that, and it wasn't going to really get any better than the first one, I was like, oh, wait. And then I just it was so grating after a while to do any sliding puzzles. I was like, I want to avoid every battle possible, and I was just getting so frustrated. I ended up not finishing the game. I don't even know how far I got, but it wasn't very far. And I just kind of gave up on it. So
I got about
I'm glad you feel the same way.
I was in the 3rd chapter. I got a little bit into the 3rd chapter after the Japanese themed theme park. That one.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a little further than that. I didn't finish the 3rd chapter, but I got a fair ways into it, and then I just gave up because I wasn't having fun. Yeah,
that's about how far I got. I think I got a little bit further, or a little bit less far than that. I think I was just like sort of towards the end of like chapter 2. So yeah, I don't know. I am both saddened and also a little bit happy because the main game itself is actually so fun. I enjoy platforming, and I enjoy collecting toads, and I enjoy talking to characters sometimes. And I enjoyed exploring and mainly I enjoy exploring and trying to find toads.
Actually, yes,
that's not enough.
The most
not enough of a game.
Was all the clever ways that they hid the toads throughout the world.
That's like not enough of a game, though, right? Like there's not enough there to warrant a whole other game around it.
I've always said that the genre of modern Paper Mario is not RPG; it's hide and seek.
Hide and seek, yes.
Isn't it? It's just every Paper Mario since Sticker Star has been a hide and seek simulator. That's all it is.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Actually, it is. I don't mind. Here's the thing. I honestly think that that Origami King would be better if they just took the battles out.
It's a shame because the thing is that I actually feel the exact same way. If you are refusing to be an RPG and refusing to do any of the things that make RPG satisfying to play, then just don't be an RPG.
Yeah. Just be a platformer. If you're going to be a platformer, be a platformer. Stop having this weird mixed identity of games that don't really fit together very well. And even then, like the fact that the battles are puzzles also, it's a timed puzzle platformer RPG. Like it's having an identity crisis.
The pieces don't fit together. People who enjoy a platformer are not inherently going to enjoy hours of sliding puzzles.
Exactly.
It's a game for a very specific kind of person, I feel like, where inevitably a lot of your player base is going to really love one part of it, but really not love another sizable chunk of it.
Yep.
And if you just didn't, it's weird. They refuse to be an RPG, but they refuse to throw away certain RPG elements, and it results in the game having a massive identity crisis where if they just went with one direction, I think it would be fine. Where Super Paper Mario is a platformer action RPG, and I think that fit together pretty well, and it understood most of what I liked about Paper Mario.
That's my favorite Paper Mario right there.
I'm so happy that I have a positive Let's Play of Super Paper Mario on my channel that predates Sticker Star, because whenever I get random passerbys going, you just don't like change and want them to make the same thing over and over again. I'm like, no, here's the Let's Play of Super Paper Mario I made in like 2010 that says I love the game.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and see, I think people need to understand the difference between liking a game and disliking the fact that your favorite game franchise changed. There's a difference there, Because like you can like a game in a franchise that changed, but maybe you don't like it because there's some things that you really wish that they brought over from the original games, you know? I feel the same way about like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, for example. Like, I thought that was a fantastic game, and a lot of people said no. So.
It's been getting the love that it deserves lately, I feel, where people are kind of less mad about it. Because at the time, the fact that it was the first new game in 10 years, people were really critical of it. In addition to wishing that the series would just pick a direction and go with it instead of picking like 5 different directions that don't fit together, and have this mishmash of ideas that don't fit well together, I wish that they would either pick a direction and go, or better yet, okay, you have this idea for a game, you know, that doesn't really have a story. It has a couple of RPG elements, I guess, but it's largely an action-adventure puzzle game. And you're giving it an arts and crafts theme for the kids, and you're making it for a younger audience. Okay. Make a new franchise. Don't take this thing that I loved, deny it from existing any longer, and replacing it with this thing that's not it.
Here's a weird idea. What if they even kept it like kind of in the same like the Mario universe, but let's say it was a Yoshi game or a Donkey Kong game, or you know, like something like that, where it was like they made like a paper version of another character and put that as the main focus, and sort of like it's tied, it's kind of similar, maybe in the same universe, but it's different because we're gonna have a different title character and so on and so forth. That might work.
Maybe. A lot of people really wanted Paper Luigi to be a thing for a long time, where that was teased in Thousand Year Door, and they never followed up on it.
Paper Luigi's Mansion. Let's go.
I have all these salty Paper Mario tweets that enter my mind. Believe it or not, I've been filtering it, and people are saying, you're really going on and on too much. I filter myself, actually. I would say I make less than half of the tweets that pop into my head. I think this year, on Super Paper Mario's birthday, I was going to make a tweet saying, happy birthday, Super Paper Mario. 12 years ago, you ended on a cliff. Still to this day has never been resolved. After the game before you ended on a cliffhanger 17 years ago that it also has never been resolved.
That's great.
God, where was it? I don't think I have my phone on me. I had a tweet that I was going to make about how bad they would run the original Paper Mario if they remade it today.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. If y'all listening to this podcast want to go and follow Emile's Paper Mario tweets, you can do that at Chuggaaconroy on Twitter, or you can follow him on YouTube.
Every time I tweet shade about Paper Mario, I'll get a decent number of people that are going, listen, this is unhealthy. You need to stop this. This is really obnoxious, and it's gone on way too long. Just get over it. But every time I tweet about Paper Mario, I gain like 1,000 followers.
Well, hey, you know, people like the controversy around Paper Mario. There's just so many different Paper Mario games now, and we got different fans from different eras now. So, like, yeah, there's different opinions coming from all sides, man. That's why I want to talk about it, because I feel like this is a good starting place for people who want to talk about Paper Mario.
I'm not saying that I keep tweeting about it for the followers. I'm just saying that clearly a lot of people feel the same way.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
There's a lot of Paper Mario opinions out there.
Hashtag play Bug Fables.
Yeah, okay. There you go. There's the thought of the day. Go play Bug Fables. I hear amazing things. I haven't played it, but I hear amazing things about it. If you like Thousand Year Door, especially, Bug Fables is like identical in a lot of ways, except that it improves on a bunch of different things. And also, it's got cute bug characters. Who couldn't love it?
It iterates on multiple things, and it's a great example of what I'm talking about, where I'm not asking same game every sequels that improve upon it, because Bug Fables, when I replayed the older games last year, there were certain complaints that I had with the gameplay where I went, you know, if I had a role in designing this, I would change this about the game. And when I went to go play Bug Fables, it changed a lot of those very things that I said I would change.
Really?
One example was that the hammer in Paper Mario kind of sucks. It's a single hit attack. It delivers all of its damage at once. It doesn't stack with damage increase as well. There's fewer enemies that can only be hammered versus only jumped on. The hammer is just not that helpful. And in Thousand Year Door, they made it even worse. get the jump upgrades before the hammer upgrades, which in the original you got the hammer upgrades first, which made the hammer useful for certain areas.
Yeah.
But in Thousand Year Door, they made the hammer even worse, and I thought that was such a strange decision. In Bug Fables, they did exactly what I said I wanted them to do with the hammer, and that's make all the hammer attacks by default pierce defense.
Nice. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That works.
Another idea that I've had for a long time for how you could iterate upon Paper Mario is having essentially dual techs from Chrono Trigger, where you could have Mario and your partner attack together on a turn for a super move, kind of like the bros attacks for Mario and Luigi.
Oh, that would be so cool, actually.
Where you can team up and combine their abilities in interesting ways. Like maybe if you have a fire-breathing partner, you combine that with Mario's hammer and get like a fire hammer attack. Bug Fables does that.
Wow, that's cool, actually. Yeah, I was just thinking, actually, that's one of my favorite opinions about Paper Mario, actually, is that you really should just take the battle system from Mario and Luigi games and put it in Paper Mario, and there you go.
What's wild is that the whole dodging and countering thing that's in Mario and Luigi is unused in the original Paper Mario, meaning they had the idea that far back.
Wow, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so those are some... I had some salt there at the beginning, though, but I had some kind of positive trilogy, so hopefully it wasn't too hard for some of you.
No, you're good. Also, I'm getting Discord cutting out here a little bit, so we're gonna wrap this podcast up now. I'm not sure why Discord's freaking out, but it happens once in a while. So, yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, Emile, for coming and talking on the podcast and hanging out and talking about video games with me. This is a blast always.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody watching the podcast, please go check out Chuggaaconroy on YouTube and Twitter. And yeah, I'll leave some links in the description. If you haven't heard of Emile yet, you're living under a rock. So, go fix that and help yourself to some content.
Oh, thank you. Eat all you want.
Daddy made you his favorite. Open wide.
You have to open really wide to fit all of the Xenoblade 2. I posted the 160th episode during this podcast.
Oh my god, dude! What's your longest Let's Play?
I'm nowhere near done.
Is this going to be your longest one?
Yes, it already is. My longest before this was 119.
Damn.
I think the 200 episode dream might happen.
Whoa. Man, I'm glad that I'm in that game.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did say Malos looked like you.
People have been messaging me saying like, oh, people have been messaging me saying like, every time I look at you, I can't not think of Malos.
Yeah, I sent you that joke in the beginning saying, hey, is it okay if I make this joke? This guy's kind of a dick, so I understand if you don't want to be associated with him. And you were like, no, go ahead, that's funny. And I'm like, okay, cool.
No, I love it. I love it, dude. I love it. Oh, man.